The first step in actually putting the actuators in the doors is to put the bracket on the inner door. It's about 7/8 of an inch in from the edge to the top, and you notice it's angled slightly towards the inside of the car on the bottom. So that gets mounted there. And then the next step is going to be to put the actuator in the door. You're going to need, a temporary battery of some sort. I've got this old Deca battery that I use for power, and you want to take the actuator and extend the arm all the way out, but not so far that it makes it buckle. You'll know what I mean if you try it. If you go the full travel, it'll torque over and jam itself up. So you see this little end stop here, that bolt. When that hits there, it wants to turn the whole thing, and it'll make it hard to mount. So just bring it so it's close to there. And then you're going to have to prop the door up somehow with something. The two tubes from my vacuum cleaner happen to work really well, just so the door is all the way open. So once that's set up, then you can put the actuator inside the door. Just let it slide down and go into the mount. And the mount came with a bolt and a lock nut, and you just put the bolt in there temporarily. You may have to spread the bracket out a little bit to get that in there. Test that before you get to this point. Just enlarge a little bit. I'm just going to put this in there finger tight. And then looking inside the door, in the upright position, you want the back of the actuator here all the way against the body, and then there'll be a gap in the front because it's pivoted that way. So when it goes down, the back is going to turn towards the inside of the car, and the front's going to turn towards the outside of the car. But this way the door is all the way up, it's jammed up against the outer door, and now you can measure under or on the top of how far that the little lip you left on the lower bracket is, and then drill right up from underneath through there and mount the bolts there. If you see here, I've already done that. Oops. I've already done that. The hole's marked, and it's just a matter of lining it up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You could also, if you wanted, instead of drilling all the way through with a quarter inch bit, you could also drill in and tap it, so you don't have to put a nut inside. I find it easier just to drill all the way through and put the bolts in. And the end product from that, I've got to bring the door up a little bit. So even without the bolts tightened down, it's already holds the door up on its own, which is nice, because right now, it's basically a guillotine in here. When the door falls down, when it's in this position, when you're in this position, it's not fun when it clunks you in the head. Good idea to use either a plate under here or fender washers. Just something to distribute the force more. And it certainly wouldn't hurt to put more than 2 bolts in there. But right now, temporarily, just want to show how this whole thing works. Now you're probably wondering, the actuator arm is going through there, and I cut a hole and I didn't show that as part of it. But basically in the front, you're cutting a hole out of the door, and it's not just a regular hole. It looks like this. When the actuator's all the way up, or the door's all the way up, it notches up further into there. And then as it comes down not as far. So instead of taking a huge chunk out of there, this is 3 inches to here, and then it's 2 1/4 to here. So that just gets cut out of there. And what I do afterwards, the metal plates are in there for mounting the doors already. I go back and I strengthen this with fiberglass mixed with microfiller. And that makes a real strong material. But what you want to make sure is that the door is perfectly aligned before you do that, because once you do that, it's not moving. And you also want to put the bolts in, the sandwiches the plates, and tighten the door mount bolts. But right now, the door should be ready to go. Temporarily, I'm just going to give it power. So that's all the way up. The actuator will stop. I'll give power to it if it's not doing anything. So there we have the doors all the way up. And if you look on this inside of the hinge, you see the threaded hole where the door piston, if you didn't use this, would go. So you don't need those gas cylinders in there for the doors, because the doors open automatically. You also, there's no latch on this side of the door or pin, because the actuator actually holds it more firmly than the bear claw. To use a bear claw latch, because I tried it, it ends up not working, because you release it and then it just, because there's so much tension on the actuator, it just relatches itself. You could put a pin and like a piece of metal with a V cut into it that channels it into there to hold it a little bit more, but I don't find it necessary. I mean, there's a million things you could do to change the system. So, giving it power, it just comes down. You want to bring it down gradually the first time, make sure nothing's rubbing or jamming. This thing's real, the actuator's powerful, so it could crack the fiberglass if it's torquing the wrong way. And that's closed. So it didn't rub at all on the cutout. It's not rubbing as it sits there now. The inside of the actuator is turned, and the door looks good all along. And you can see I'm pulling on the door pretty good, and I can get it to move a tiny bit, but it holds as it is. So eventually, with the motor controller and the keyless remote fob, and I'll push the button I've shown in the other videos and it'll just open by itself. But right now, it's good. After I block the body back, I'll look to see if there's any areas that I'd like the door to sit a little bit better. Looks like on this line right here, the door comes in a little bit more, which I'd rather have that than it sticking out. Just add a little material there. And typically these doors like to, in the front edge, they like to sit, or they like to come out from this body part a little bit. But what you want to make sure is that there is a gap here, so it's not going to rub when it opens, and it didn't. There's also no need for the outer door handle, so that area is going to get fiberglassed in and blended so that it was like it was never there. But that's the process. Takes me a solid day to do both doors. But at the end of it, it comes out real nice. It acts as, also, they end up acting as door locks, which is nice because you can't open it without the key fob. The motor controller also is 2-channel, so by giving one of them ground, which is going to come from the keyless, it'll make the door open from the outside automatically or from the inside automatically. And the other input, you can put in a switch to ground, a push button switch to open it from the inside, or just use the key fob. That's your choice.